Hello, my name is Putkonen. Thanks for joining me. Today's topic is enlightenment is permanent. Now, a lot of my videos I've mentioned that enlightenment is permanent, but I wanted to make a video devoted to this specifically because there's so much misunderstanding and confusion about it. Because I get questions where a lot of times the basic assumption is that it's impermanent and temporary in some way. And so I figured I needed a video to just clearly say, enlightenment is permanent. It's sudden and complete. It's a one and done. There's no going back. And now the reason I think so much the confusion arises is a lot of it's due to the misunderstanding or ignorance about what enlightenment is. Now, in old Zen, they would say enlightenment was sudden and complete. Zen also would describe it somewhat as a wooden bucket. Once the bottom of a wooden bucket falls away, all the water goes with it. This is kind of an interesting image because you have a wooden bucket with slats and with a wooden bottom, and because of moisture or whatever, if the bottom comes loose, the entire bottom falls away and all the water goes with it. Now, when this happens, the water isn't going to suddenly remain in the bucket, nor is the bottom of the bucket and the water suddenly going to return to the bucket. Once the bottom of the bucket falls away, all the water goes with it, and it should not have to be said that the bucket never holds water again when it's bottomless. And water doesn't suddenly return either. It is a sudden and complete thing. The bottom of the bucket falls away, the water goes with it, one and done. That's it. Now, sometimes, being I used the Zen kind of story in a way, I will say I sometimes have people that are exposed to Buddhism or whatever, and they'll come to me with a question like, well, the Buddha said all things are impermanent and changing, and so wouldn't that have to mean that enlightenment is also impermanent and changing? How could enlightenment be permanent? Well, that's misunderstanding that enlightenment is not a thing or an experience. If enlightenment was a thing or experience, then they'd be right. It would be temporary because all things and experiences are temporary. Happenings are not temporary. Happenings can be called permanent. For example, if an apple falls from an apple tree, that's permanent because the apple falling from the apple tree does not reverse course and suddenly reappear on the tree. It doesn't disappear from the ground, reappear attached to the tree again. Never happens. Once the apple falls, that's it. All happenings are like that. You sometimes hear people say something like, I can't unsee what I saw. That also kind of points to the same thing. You can't undo a happening. If you saw it, there's no unseeing it now. And enlightenment is exactly like that. It is a seeing, a deep, profound seeing of what is. And once seen, cannot be unseen. Enlightenment is a sudden and complete, deep and profound revelation, realization. Understanding arises. Said from the other way, it's a dispelling of ignorance. It's a dispelling of misunderstanding. The only reason the illusion of me is believed is due to ignorance and misunderstanding. If there was no ignorance or misunderstanding, the illusion of me could not be believed. That's why I say with realization, awakening, enlightenment, pick your term, the illusion of me shatters. The illusion of me can no longer be believed because understanding is otherwise, as it had been. That happening happened. There's no going back. And so it would be incorrect to try to make it a thing. Enlightenment is not about an experience. It's not about a state of mind. It's not about a knowledge that you got to try to remember. And practice in life, it's not about that. Enlightenment is about a dispelling of ignorance. and the arising of understanding. And that's really all it is. It's that happening. And because it's a happening, it's permanent. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. Because it's, like I said, I get these questions where people have, within the question, a lot of times a bias or a preconceived notion, or within the question when it's asked. And I find time and time again this idea among many people that enlightenment isn't permanent. It could go away. It could be forgotten. And you gotta do something to reclaim it. It's none of that. If whatever happened went away, that was an enlightenment by the very fact that it went away. Because if enlightenment happened, as I said, the ignorance was dispelled. The ignorance isn't suddenly believed again. The understanding, the truth is there, which dispels, believing the untruth again. In Indian spirituality and philosophy, they talk about the snake and a rope. And if you mistook a piece of rope on the ground for a snake, and for some reason you looked at it deeply enough, let's say, and you brought torches, a torch or a flashlight forward or whatever happened. But if you truly realized that this piece of rope is not a snake, the illusion of snake is shattered. If you pull the light away, you're not suddenly going to believe that's a snake again. If you come back the next day and see that same piece of rope sitting on the ground, you're not suddenly going to think it's a snake again. That kind of thing doesn't happen. Once the illusion is shattered, the illusion can never be believed again, because now there's understanding. The truth is seen. But anyways, if you've got any questions, please let me know. Any comments, also post below. But thank you much. Till next time.